The fifth lesson, Edrick woke to the sound of rain. Not real rain. He knew that immediately, even before opening his eyes. Real rain had a rhythm, a natural pattern of drops striking stone and earth. This rain was perfect, identical, each drop falling in exact synchronization with the last, like a clock mechanism made of water. He opened his eyes to find Rose still sitting nearby, her sword across her lap, her eyes closed but her breathing too controlled to be sleep. Shamaz had dozed off over his texts, one weathered hand still resting on an open page. Alluria stood by the door, her posture alert despite the early hour. The sound of the rain continued in Edrick's mind, patient and relentless. "Good morning, little king," the Devourer whispered. "Did you enjoy your rest? 2 hours of peace. Shall we see how long the next 2 hours last?" Edrick sat up slowly, testing the filter his companions had helped him build. It held, the cultists' chanting remained muted, a distant murmur rather than a crushing weight. But the Devourer had found a new approach, layering its whispers beneath sounds that mimicked natural phenomena. The rain, the rhythm of a heartbeat, the creak of settling stone. "You're awake," Rose said without opening her eyes. "I can hear the change in your breathing." "The filter is holding," Edrick said. Rose's eyes opened. Dark circles shadowed them, but her gaze was sharp. "For now." Shamaz stirred, lifting his head from the archive table. He blinked several times, orienting himself, then focused on Edrick with an intensity that suggested he'd been waiting for this moment even in his sleep. "How do you feel?" the old scholar asked. "Rested," Edrick said. Then, more honestly, "different. It's changing tactics. The chanting is still there, but now it's layering other sounds over my thoughts. Rain that isn't real. Patterns that don't exist." Shamaz nodded slowly. The Devourer is adapting to the filter, learning to work around it rather than through it. He stood, joints creaking, and gathered several scrolls from the table. Which brings us to the fifth lesson. Come. They followed him deeper into the archives, past rows of ancient texts, and into a chamber Edrick hadn't seen before. The room was circular, with a domed ceiling that amplified even the smallest sound. 7 candles burned in holders set into the walls at precise intervals, their flames casting overlapping shadows that created patterns on the stone floor. "The fourth lesson taught you to anchor your consciousness to physical objects," Shamaz said, setting his scrolls on a small table near the center of the room. "The fifth lesson teaches you to recognize what is real and what is not." "Oh, this should be entertaining," the Devourer murmured. "Tell me, scholar, what is real? The king who thinks he's still human? The companions who believe they can save him? The kingdom that pretends its ruler hasn't already been lost?" Edrick closed his eyes, breathing deeply, counting. 1, 2, 3. "The Devourer can create sensations," Shamaz continued. "Sounds, as you've discovered. But also touch, taste, even pain. It will attempt to confuse your perception of reality, to make you doubt what your senses tell you. The fifth lesson trains you to distinguish between genuine sensation and manufactured experience." Alluria moved to stand beside one of the candles. "The technique comes from the Urith Shadow Walkers, those who learn to navigate the spaces between worlds where reality becomes flexible. They develop methods to maintain their sense of self, even when surrounded by illusions." "Show me," Edrick said. Shamaz gestured to the center of the chamber. "Stand there. Close your eyes. I'm going to touch your shoulder. When you feel it, tell me which shoulder, left or right." Edrick moved to the center and closed his eyes. The darkness behind his eyelids was immediate and complete. He heard the soft sound of Shamaz's footsteps approaching, then felt a firm pressure on his left shoulder. "Left," he said. "Correct." Shamaz's footsteps retreated. Again. This time, Edrick felt pressure on his right shoulder. "Right. Good. Once more." Pressure on his left shoulder again. "Left. Now," Shamaz said, his voice coming from somewhere near the far wall. "Tell me which shoulder I'm touching." Edrick felt pressure on both shoulders simultaneously. He frowned. "Both." "I'm standing 10 feet away from you," Shamaz said. "I'm not touching you at all." The pressure on Edrick's shoulders intensified, became almost painful. He opened his eyes to find Shamaz exactly where he'd said, across the chamber, hands empty, watching. "Interesting," the Devourer whispered. "You felt it, didn't you? As real as any true touch. How will you know, little king, when I'm creating sensation and when your body is actually experiencing something? How will you know when the pain is real?" Edrick forced himself to breathe slowly. The pressure on his shoulders remained, but now he understood what it was, a phantom sensation, manufactured by the entity in his chest. The key, Alluria said, is not to deny what you feel. The sensation is real. Your mind is experiencing it genuinely, but you must learn to trace it back to its source. Does it come from outside your body or from within? Close your eyes again, Shamaz instructed. This time when you feel something, don't just identify what it is. Follow it backward. Ask yourself, where does this sensation originate? Edrick closed his eyes. Almost immediately, he felt a hand grasp his wrist. Firm, warm, unmistakably real. But he forced himself to pause, to trace the sensation back to its source. The feeling came from inside, from the green light in his chest, radiating outward to create the illusion of external touch. It's not real, he said. It's coming from the fragment. Correct, Shamaz said. Now, I'm going to actually touch you. Tell me if you can feel the difference. A moment later, Edrick felt another hand on his other wrist. This sensation was different. It originated from outside, from the point of contact, and spread inward. The texture was distinct, the temperature slightly cooler, the pressure more variable. That one's real, Edrick said. Your hand is colder than mine. Good. Shamaz released his wrist. The Devourer can create convincing sensations, but they always originate from within and radiate outward. True sensation moves in the opposite direction, from the external world inward to your consciousness. Learn to recognize the difference, and you'll be able to distinguish reality from illusion. For the next hour, they practiced. Shamaz and Alluria took turns creating real sensations, while the Devourer attempted to overlay them with false ones. Edrick learned to trace each feeling back to its source, to recognize the subtle differences between genuine experience and manufactured perception. The Devourer grew increasingly frustrated. You think this parlor trick will save you? It hissed. I have had eons to perfect the art of deception. I know every thought in your mind, every memory, every fear. I can create sensations so perfect, you'll never know the difference. Then why are you angry? Edrick asked aloud, opening his eyes. Shamaz and Alluria paused, looking at him with concern. Rose's hand moved to her sword. The Devourer is frustrated, Edrick explained. It's threatening me, but the threats sound defensive. Defensive? The entity's voice dropped to a growl. I am ancient beyond your comprehension. I existed before your ancestors learned to make fire. I am not afraid, Edrick interrupted. Yes, you've said that before, but you keep saying it. Why do you need to convince me so badly? The Devourer fell silent. Rose stepped forward, her expression intense. What's it doing? Nothing, Edrick said. For the first time since old Ravenhold, it's actually quiet. Shamaz exchanged a glance with Alluria. That may be more concerning than its threats. Or it may mean we're succeeding, Alluria countered. Each lesson you master is a tool it can't use against you. Each technique you learn is a weapon in this war. The fifth lesson, Shamaz said, returning to his scrolls, is about more than distinguishing real from false. It's about maintaining your connection to objective reality. The Devourer will try to isolate you in a world of its own creation, where nothing is certain and everything is suspect. Your ability to anchor yourself to what is genuinely real, to trace sensation back to its true source, is your defense against that isolation. Edrick nodded slowly. He could feel the Devourer's attention on him, watchful and calculating. The silence was different from its usual brooding presence. This was the quiet of something planning, adapting, preparing its next move. You learn quickly, the Devourer finally said, its voice soft and almost approving. Better than Aldrich did. Better than any of the others who carried fragments. Perhaps that's why you survived the merger when they did not. You have the capacity to adapt. I'm not interested in your praise, Edrick said. No, you're interested in survival. In maintaining this prison, you've built from my own essence and your stubborn will. But tell me, little king, have you considered what happens when you've mastered all of Shamaz's lessons? When you've built every defense, learned every technique, created every barrier? Edrick waited, knowing the Devourer wanted him to ask. You'll still be here, the entity continued. Still bound to me. Still carrying me in your chest. Still fighting this war every moment of every day for decades, centuries, millennia. You'll perfect your defenses, yes. You'll learn to block my every attack, but you'll never be free. Never be fully human again. Never simply be. The words settled over Edrick like a weight. Not because they were false, but because they were true. I know, he said quietly. Edrick, Rose started. I know, he repeated, looking at her. I accepted that at Old Ravenhold. When I claimed all 5 fragments, when I merged with the Sealing Blade, I accepted what it meant. This is my life now, this war, forever. The Devourer laughed, not its usual mocking sound, but something darker. Forever is a very long time, little king, and I am very, very patient. A sharp knock echoed through the archives. Commander Aldwin appeared in the doorway, her expression grim. Your Majesty, she said, you need to come to the battlements, now. They followed her through the castle corridors, past guards who straightened at their approach, and servants who quickly stepped aside. The rain sound in Edrick's mind intensified, the Devourer's manufactured storm matching his growing sense of unease. On the battlements, the morning light was gray and weak. The 200 cultists still knelt in their perfect rows outside the gates, unchanged from the night before. But something was different. Watch, Aldwin said, pointing. As Edrick watched, one of the cultists in the front row slowly stood. Then another. Then another. Within moments, all 200 were on their feet, facing the castle. They moved in perfect synchronization, raising their arms to the sky, and began to sing. It wasn't the chanting from before. This was something else entirely. A melody in a language Edrick didn't recognize, rising and falling in complex harmonies that shouldn't have been possible from human throats. The sound was beautiful and terrible, carrying across the morning air with unnatural clarity. The filter Edrick had built shuddered under the impact. This wasn't the same as the chanting. This was something new, something the defenses hadn't been designed to block. What are they singing? Rose demanded. Shamaz's face had gone pale. It's Old Thornhaven, the language of the First Age. He listened for a moment longer, then translated. We sing the awakening. We sing the throne. We sing the king who remembers his name. Do you hear them, little king? The Devourer whispered, its voice blending with the song. They're not calling to me. They're calling to you, to the part of you that is me, to the darkness you claimed as your own. They're singing you home. The melody intensified, and Edrick felt something shift in his chest. The green light pulsed in rhythm with the song, responding to it, resonating with it. His vision blurred at the edges, and for a moment he saw through other eyes, saw himself standing on the battlements, saw the castle from the cultist's perspective, saw the throne that waited in the darkness below the earth. Edrick, Rose's voice cut through the vision. Her hand closed around his wrist, a real touch, originating from outside, anchoring him to objective reality. He blinked, and the vision faded, but the song continued, and the Devourer's laughter echoed in his mind. The 5th lesson taught you to distinguish real from false, it said. But what happens when the false becomes real? When the throne I show you begins to exist? When the darkness I promise begins to manifest? Your defenses are impressive, little king, but they're still just defenses, and I am very, very good at offense. The cultist's song reached a crescendo, then stopped abruptly. In the sudden silence, they all knelt again, returning to their vigil. But the damage was done. Edrick could feel the filter weakening, could sense new cracks in the defenses his companions had helped him build. We need to go back to the archives, Shamaz said urgently. We need to reinforce. No, Edrick interrupted. He was staring at the kneeling cultists, at their perfect stillness, at the patience that seemed to radiate from them like heat from stone. We need to understand something. The Devourer said they're not calling to it, they're calling to me. Because you carry it, Alluria said. You're the vessel. No. Edrick turned to face them. I'm not just a vessel. I claimed the fragments. I merged with them willingly. The Devourer is right. Part of me is it now. Part of it is me. The cultists aren't waiting for it to break free. They're waiting for me to accept what I've become. The words hung in the air between them. Rose's grip on his wrist tightened. Then we make sure you never do, she said fiercely. But Edrick could see the question in Shamaz's eyes, the concern in Alluria's expression, the fear beneath Rose's determination. They all understood what he just articulated, that the war wasn't just about maintaining control over a separate entity. It was about maintaining his sense of self while merged with something that was becoming indistinguishable from his own consciousness. The Devourer's laughter was soft, almost gentle. "Now you begin to understand," it whispered. "Now the real war begins." And in the courtyard below, 200 cultists knelt in perfect silence, waiting for the moment when King and Darkness would finally, inevitably, become one.
Thanks for watching our stories. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more epic adventures. Thanks for watching our stories. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more epic adventures.